This hotel's most expensive room has never been used, and the payments for it, they arrive like clockwork from a name that doesn't exist. At the end of 1974, the Rio Grande Palace opened its doors, glittering marble lobby, crystal chandeliers, and a promise of five-star luxury for the elite. On the third floor, a narrow corridor leads to a door marked 303. The sign reads Suite 303, reserved. No key fits the lock, no guest ever steps inside, yet the ledger shows a nightly charge of 2,000 reals, paid without fail for 50 years. The first clue appeared when Maria, the night shift accountant, noticed a single line of code in the system. Guest, anonymous. She asked the manager, Carlos, who shrugged and said the reservation belonged to a trust that never answered calls. That night, as Maria printed the receipt, a thin slip of paper fell from the printer. The ink was smudged, but the looping cursive was unmistakable, the signature of a young heiress named Isabela Duarte, who vanished in 1969 after a scandal at a Sao Paulo gala. The manager Carlos felt a chill run down his spine. He remembered the story his grandmother told him about Isabela, a bright arts student who inherited a fortune, then disappeared after a fire consumed her family mansion. No one ever found her body, and the only trace left was a diary entry that ended with the words, "I will live forever," in the walls. Determined to solve the mystery, Carlos booked a meeting with the bank that handled the transfers. The teller, a balding man named Paulo, showed him the electronic trail. Every payment originated from a shell corporation called Silva Holdings. The registration documents listed a director named J. Silva with no address, no phone, nothing. Yet each transfer included a handwritten note attached to the bank slip. The notes read, in Isabela's hand, "For the room that watches me." Carlos returned to the hotel and asked the concierge, Anna, to open the door. She laughed, saying the key never existed. Still, she led him to the service elevator, and together they descended to the basement where the maintenance crew kept the old master keys. The key was cold iron, heavy, and when Anna turned it, the lock clicked. The door swung open with a sigh of stale air, as if the building itself exhaled. Inside, the suite was a perfect replica of the 1970s decor: shag carpet, teak furniture, a large window overlooking the city's neon skyline. Dust lay thick on the nightstand, but a single candle burned, its wax melted into a perfect circle. On the dresser sat a leather-bound diary, its pages yellowed. Carlos opened it to a page dated October 29, 1974. The entry read, "Tonight I hear the river sing through the walls. I will stay until the moon drifts away." A sudden knock on the door made Carlos jump. He turned to see a uniformed security guard, eyes wide, clutching a folded newspaper. The headline screamed Bank Heist Foiled, Silva Holdings Caught. The article detailed a raid on a warehouse where cash bundles were hidden, but the investigators found only empty boxes and a single envelope addressed to room 303. The guard whispered, "They say the room pays for itself. They say whoever stays there pays the price." He left, and the candle flickered, casting shadows that seemed to crawl across the ceiling. Carlos felt the temperature drop by several degrees, his breath forming mist in the air. He realized the payments were not random. Each night, the bank transferred exactly the amount needed to cover the hotel's operating costs for that day. The money never left the building, it simply replenished the ledger, keeping the hotel afloat during lean seasons. The source was a phantom client, but the money was real, and it kept the hotel from closing its doors. The revelation hit him like a punch. The room was a financial ghost, a cursed ledger that fed on the hotel's own profit. The missing heiress's handwriting was a lure, a promise that her spirit would linger in the walls, collecting rent forever. The threat to staff who tried to cancel the reservation was not a threat at all, it was the hotel's way of protecting its hidden income stream. Carlos left the suite with the diary tucked under his arm. He never spoke of the night to anyone, but the hotel's owners later reported a sudden surge in bookings, as if the mystery itself drew curious travelers. The room remains locked, its key kept in a safe, its ledger still full, and the payments continue to arrive on the first of each month, from a name that does not exist. If you ever walk past the Rio Grande Palace and see the faint glow of a candle behind a sealed door, remember that somewhere inside, a phantom guest checks in every night, and the price of curiosity may be more than you expect. He later learned that the night guard Luis had disappeared 3 months after that shift. His locker was found open, his badge still on the table, and a single feather lay on the floor where the candle flame had once danced. The police could not explain the feather, but locals whispered that it was a raven's plume, a sign that the room claimed its keeper. Would you spend a night in room 303? Comment below.